Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. In this week's customer interview, Dave sits down and has a chat with a community member named Joe. Joe's a very fascinating person with a lot of interesting and cool ideas. He's really passionate about his current rickshaw cart project that communities can use for roadway trash cleanup. He even has ideas for a social app that integrates with the rickshaw cart. And it's a really cool interview, and him and Dave talk about the cart design, among other things like his cool ideas like the app. It's a long interview, about an hour, but if you have the time, I encourage you to watch it because it's really inspiring.
It's nice to meet you and nice to see you, face to face. I appreciate the interest, and I'm really curious. After reading through all the information that you put on there, I'm really curious to know a little bit about yourself. How did you start with this project?
Well, I own my own business. I have for 30 plus years now.
Oh,
I'm a
wow.
one-man
Congratulations.
product development company. For many years, I got into game development, and I still have two on the market that I get royalties from. I've worked with multiple companies. I'm a process engineer. I think deeply and get every step and every detail down. And from design to rules to the whole ideas with marketing and whatnot. So my company, I do license deals. So I'm the IP guy. I don't patent anything. I find third parties that are interested in my ideas, and I set up licensing deals with them, and I take a small percentage of wholesale sales. And but my real passion is world improvement. So I'm analog, I'm digital. I was instrumental in starting up a VC startup that had $4 million of investment, doing a new type of social media platform. So I'm a software architect too. I'm curious about how things work in the world, and I teach myself how to do it all. I've taught myself coding. I've built dynamic websites. But my real passion is building things that improve the world. And this project, actually, years ago, probably 18 years ago now, I'm an ex-triathlete, triathlons. I started a race for our local YMCA, which ended up netting them like $35,000 a year. And part of that initiative, I noted that our racers pollute the course. They have their goo packets and they just toss them on the ground. So about 5 years into the race initiative, I started another initiative called Clean the Course. And that's when I really got into roadside trash cleanup. And we did it annually each year, thinking that because our athletes polluted a little, we'd go through one time a year and clean everything off from the entire run course and the entire bike course.
Wow, that's fantastic.
So way back when, if you read through most of the doc, you'll see there's a whole bunch more to this whole initiative than just the cart. And that's where I'm really looking to go with this. I'm looking not just to clean my community, though. I can't wait to get a cart and get out on the road and start testing it and playing around and loading it with different pickup gadgets and all of that. But I'm going to really be driving the whole initiative, looking for someone to lead the whole initiative. But I'm not a business person type. I'm an engineer, sit in the back, test and build. And I'm a builder too. I built our own house. We live in a multi-level brick octagon. It's got like 11 different levels to it.
Oh, wow.
I designed it on computer. Took me 2 years to design it all, and I built it with my own two hands. took me 10 years to build the house. It's all built with trigonometry. It's all built from a single nail at a center point of the entire house. Everything was measured from that one point to every other point because there's so many levels and angles to everything. So I'm well versed in. I'm a master carpenter. I know all the trades. I do my own plumbing, electrical, masonry, tiling, furniture, cabinet building. Do it all. Just because I like to learn how to do it all. So come to this project, I kind of resurrected the old project of many years ago and had this idea for the cart and found you guys with your connectors, which I was excited to find just in the initial stages of how am I going to prototype this thing. And your connectors look, I mean, highly versatile. I congratulate you on your whole business model. Actually, I'm impressed with the community and the creativity and all the people. I mean, you got a good thing going that hope it continues to grow for you.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I'm excited you found us, and we've been focusing a lot on community, and there's so many unbelievably creative people that have found us over the years that it really truly is becoming an awesome community. And I just get excited about it every day because there's new ideas, new ways to use the connectors, and then new products to incorporate in that. It's for us, being that EMT conduit is an off the shelf item. I love when the community comes up with new uses for off-the-shelf items to incorporate into the building system. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I'm glad we made this move to, build a community around it as well.
Yeah, I would imagine you're going to see exponential growth from that. I don't know how many years you're into the community part, but it really should pick up. And
yeah, just less than a year. I think.
Oh, okay.
I think we're around the 8 or 10 month mark since we really started getting on YouTube and putting the community out there. So it's been exciting. But
and that's a growing process to learn all the ins and outs of that. It's complex stuff, and there's lots of rule breakers out there, and that throw you loops all the time. So you got to build for the lowest common denominator too. So
yeah.
Good luck. But
Thanks. A lot of it's
I love that you had all the different aspects. Because what us creatives want the most is we want to share and then get feedback.
Right.
It's critical to the whole process. We don't have all the answers, but as soon as you share and start getting some feedback, then boom, 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 better solutions just start popping up. So yeah, cool.
Well, that's great. And going back to the Clean the Course initiative, when I read that in the Google Docs, I was really impressed. That's such a great idea because I can, even though I'm not a triathlon athlete by any means, but I can picture, water cups going everywhere and nutrition packets, right?
Yep.
And what a great thing to compensate that. And I really think that's a neat idea. What came to mind as what I was wondering was, did that lead you into just a hobby and a passion for cleaning up the roadways and environment?
Yeah, I mean, I was always interested in it before, and I always did our local. So we're on a private road, a little over a quarter mile long, 4 houses. It's a gravel road. I was just out there. I'm the road maintenance builder guy. So I was out with my tractor, crowning it off and doing the spring stuff with it. But we live on a main highway that's 55 miles an hour. And I take walks every day too. Now I used to run and bike and swim, and now I'm basically just a walker. But I hate seeing the litter on my walk course. So I'm out there picking up stuff all the time, and most of it is you find all kinds of it, and I wish I could do my walk with a cart, and then I'd get into it even more and get a dual workout of lifting and bending and everything else. So that's where I'm heading. So if the initiative goes nowhere, I'm building a cart and I will be out on the road, and I'll expand my local walking zone. I'm also getting older. I've got some health problems. I've got a bathroom built into the system, and the friends that I've been talking to about this cart, they're like, you don't need to go there. And it's like, if I'm going to be doing this, I need to go there. But I've got a really cool, simple little design. And I really think having that for the initiative of, we're talking about getting kids out there picking up trash on the road. Of course, the question is going to come up: what happens if someone needs to go to the bathroom? And just to have a solution built into the cart, I think will be a really positive thing with the whole thing. So it's not shown in the design yet. All you can see is like the half circle in the seat, but I've got that'll be enclosed, and there'll be a flap that comes down over the top. It's also a rest area. There's an umbrella that's going into the whole design, and I've just got an Utz cheese ball container that I'm going to set into this holder underneath the circle, and it's just like a little urinal jug setup thing. But it'll be there, and I think it will be a plus to the overall design. It really doesn't add tons to cost or anything of the cart that I've got designed.
Right, and that's it could be a custom. Like you said, it comes out of a need for yourself. If you're out there for a long period of time, and it's customizable, right? So if someone needs it, it's there.
It doesn't have to be there,
right?
But I'm gonna build a prototype that has all kinds of bells and whistles, because I know, because when I was out on Clean the Course, people would stop all the time and thank you for first cleaning up the road, but they're like, what's going on? What's this all about? And once I have this cart done with all the tin cans all over it, decorated, people are going to be stopping all the time. And that's where we want to push the whole initiative.
Yeah, I can imagine you get stopped a lot. And I think it's going to the initiative part. It struck me as such a very important initiative. You see a lot of garbage out there. I've got it outside of my house on my road and want to do something about it. But then as a greater impact to the environment, I think it's a great thing to talk about. Have you seen there's an initiative that one team put together where they want to clean the oceans, and they want to, and basically plastic debris, right? They want to reuse plastic debris, and they put out simple designs for plastic molding equipment and recycling equipment. Have you seen that at all?
I know of the overall initiative. I haven't dug into the specifics of what they're coming up with as innovations from it.
Yeah, it struck me as a very similar sort of thing to what you're talking about. It's a hardware piece, right, in the rickshaw cart that enables people to, help the environment and achieve this goal. So I thought it was similar to that, because I've been aware of the plastic injection molding project for some time.
So it takes the plastic and starts to process it immediately.
Let me see if I can find it, Joe. That's what I'm looking on my other computer.
So one of the things, I don't know how I write a lot, so I'm sure you didn't get into all the details, but there's a corporate sponsorship thing. So we basically want to sell this into the education system, and have classrooms order a basic cart kit, all the parts for it, maybe minus the EMT, but probably with the wheels. And maybe they go buy the EMT. I haven't packaged up the whole thing yet to see how it would work out. But there's mesh. But cool part with this is there's a creative element which you decorate your cart however you want. And so we've got this corporate sponsorship idea where corporations actually provide the money to the classroom for the cart, and maybe thus their name gets put into the creative decoration of the cart by the kids. But the decoration part is totally up to the kids to come up with how, whether they want to make a Coke cart or a Pepsi cart or a Monster drink cart or even a Budweiser cart. But so there's this basic cart kit that is part of the whole initiative that starts everyone off. All the gadgets for collecting the trash, making it easier to pick up the trash and all that, separate from the cart. But I want it ultimately to be integrated so that all these tools hang or attach somehow to the cart. So there'll be that piece of this at some point too. And does it mean more connectors? Possibly, with holders, with other pipe holder type things off from the cart. But those sorts of things are all add-ons. So you buy the basic cart, you build it, you get it all wired up, and then you go collect your cans and start decorating it up.
You really are
where you're out on the road and you're showing off your creativity. And so I'm hoping that you're interested in this cart kit piece, because I'm not interested in being a manufacturer at all of any of this. So that, in addition to selling your connectors, there's this other piece that hopefully you might be interested in too. And I don't know if your facility is big enough to deal with inventorying thousands of kits, but we're going to be attacking the whole global education market. So
yeah.
Big market that we're going after with corporate sponsorship money to provide the money for buying the carts. So the money piece is even solved in the whole thing.
Right. And that may be, I love the idea, and I think it's a smart way that you're approaching it, including it into education and partnering with the business community. That's always a great idea. And I can tell that you're thinking about it really from a process standpoint, where it's like this process of collecting and getting the trash and everything. What do we need, right? What's the hardware we need and the system we need? So that's really cool. I like that. And maybe we might be able to help. We actually pretty much kit every order that we get, because people order a la carte for their specific project, as you can imagine, right? And we're packing 10 Ts and 2 180s and that sort of process.
Yeah.
So our ability to kit a custom cart kit of connectors at very least is, we have that capability. So I'm open to seeing with this, where this goes. You definitely have me interested, and I think it's a great project. Would you like to grab the reins on the design?
Sure.
Before you get going, Joe, I want to be a good resource for you. I've got, just experience with building, with Maker Pipe and EMT. I think that's where I'm the most help. You're a mechanical engineer and technical minded. So I don't know how much I'll be able to add there, but from, the Maker Pipe standpoint, I hope I can be a good resource for you.
Yeah. So the first big question I had, I researched your connectors and your reducers, and I see your connectors work with both 1/2 inch and 3/4. So I was like, and I priced out 3/4 and 1/2 inch, and 3/4 is double the price of 1/2 inch. So it's just a pull cart that's going to hold a bunch of trash weight. it's fairly sizable. So that the main bucket piece is 6 feet by 28 inches by 50 inches high. But the whole cart is 10 feet long because there's the rickshaw arms and the seat area that add 4 more feet onto the whole thing. But that basic, so I found some, initially I found some wheels that hold 200 pounds a piece. There's wheels out there that hold 500 pounds a piece. I've actually found that are cheaper since finding the initial, but I kind of put in my head, 400 pounds of trash. That's probably a good starting place number. I wanted a fairly narrow cart because it's on the side of a road type situation. So I didn't want it too wide. I didn't want it too high, too big. It's going to be engineered balanced at some point, but so that axle solution that I have in the design, actually, I'm going to be able to adjust it so that I noticed the way your connectors. You want me to? So I don't have your connectors in my 3D modeling yet. I do have to do that because I've already seen some places where I know, because your connectors actually take up space, that I'm going to have to jig things around a little bit. Like the seat 45s, the way I've got it drawn in there, all to the same point, aren't going to work because I gotta manipulate multiple connectors at the same point, basically. So I've got to adjust things slightly, but all easy, can be done. I'm not worried about it, but I will 3D model your connectors and get them in here at some point, at least roughly showing their dimensions. But
And we've got the step files for that.
Yeah, I found them. I went to the community. I plugged in the question. I noticed someone asked about dimensions of your connectors before. Found it. You posted the link to your spec sheet. All great.
Oh, good, great.
Yeah. So it worked well. It was on my list for our meeting today to ask you that, but I already found it. Checking into it. So that back gate lifts off. I'm wondering if the whole thing can be kind of picked up from the arms and dumped off from the bottom back edge at some point. I've got it only 4 inches off the ground right now, figuring it. It's on the side of the highway thing. It doesn't need tons of clearance. I want the center of gravity to be as low as possible, so the tip over factor is minimized. This is what came to my mind in trying to get it all together initially. Anything jump out at you that you would do differently, or?
I think overall, the design, it looks great, at first pass. You put a lot of thought in it, and I think that's really cool. None of the connection points, like you mentioned about the 45 not being, modeled exactly right.
You can't bring everything to one point, but you can back it up 2.5 inches, I guess, from center to edge of your connector. I learned is the length of your connectors, and then put the 45 in there.
Yeah, and that seems to work out just great with the design you've got here. I think the fold down gate, when I read that in the document, that seemed really, really smart. Just thinking about how am I going to get the trash out of it. And the one thing that jumped out at me was this triangle. I think the challenge of having, because obviously you could run an axle all the way through, right? But that goes through the middle of your storage, right? So it's not ideal.
It's not ideal, but it's not a deal breaker either to me. I mean, trash will fall in under the axle. There's still space there. I mean, maybe it's a wall to separate things even. I'm not sure with that, but didn't blow my mind that that's up in the middle of the space where you're just going to be loading in various trash items. I think it's required for strength to go all the way through versus, but maybe not.
You know, we've tried a couple different techniques with axles, and that's been a lot of fun experimenting with that. Because what's better than adding wheels to a build, right?
Yeah,
Um,
right.
and we have done the through axle, and then we've also done where we've used the bolts. Have you seen that at all?
I didn't find that on your site where.
Okay, let me see if I can pull that up. So essentially, what I'm describing is a way. I mean, you can use a through axle, but if you only have access to the ends where the wheels are going to be mounted, sometimes we've seen people use actual bolts that fit inside the conduit. So instead of the threaded rod, it is simply a long bolt, like a 6-inch or 8-inch bolt
Yep.
that the bolt is put through the bearings of the wheel,
Yep.
and then it's put into the conduit on the other side with the shim material, kind of keeping it in the centers, and then it's just cross drilled through the conduit and the bolt, and a pin is put in place to hold the bolt into the conduit, and that creates that gets it in there and holds it pretty good.
Yeah, I'd be a little bit worried about over long periods of time with heavy weight loads of that drilled out hole getting just in the, so it's literally just the thickness walls of the 3/4 conduit drilled hole that's holding that bolt.
The bolt sleeves into the conduit a good amount, maybe whatever it isn't taken up by the bearing. So maybe 4 inches into the conduit, and it's pretty sturdy. And then you just have that safety cross drill and pin that goes through both the bolt and the conduit. And my eye I keep gravitating towards how the axle gets incorporated into the overall structure. I think the overall structure is going to be really sound and do what you want it to do. I just look at how that axle integrates to that structure and what's a good way to do it. The connectors are best in compression, I'd say, right? Where the connector is being pushed onto the conduit. So you probably have maybe thought about this, but maybe orienting that triangle up instead of down might strengthen it a little bit. I don't know. What other thoughts did you have around the axle and it being hooked into the rest of the design?
Well, for me, to be able to play with moving it forward and backwards because I'm going to have to play around with, go out on the road and play around with just random trash pickup loading. I've even got a solution where I've got weights that will hang off from the middle side rail that will just fit over the EMT, so hook over it. But literally, you can be one on either side, and you can move them to create a better balance point.
Oh, fantastic.
Ultimately, you want perfect balance, right? All the time.
Right.
On that wheel of the overall car, so that the rickshaw person is just pulling or pushing versus lifting and dealing with a lift load or a push down load. So with this design that I've got, I can play around with moving them forward and backwards until I find an optimum kind of final place position. I mean, I can do the calculations too of what the center of gravity is, but I mean, I can put more structure in too around those. As soon as they got set, I can do more verticals to strengthen things. I don't really have all the base structuring in there yet in the drawing either.
Mhm.
Didn't want a wood floor. I wanted a heavy mesh floor, because most of this trash that you pick up is full of water and whatnot, and it has to drain out. So just to have a mesh base that all that water, whatever you throw in there, kind of leaks out on its own through the flooring.
That makes sense.
But I haven't got that figured out exactly yet. So it's got to, are people going to need to walk in on that too, to fully empty it out? Is that going to be important? Am I going to be able to dump it? Is the axle where it's located going all the way through going to hold up trash from being dumped out? There's a bunch of little testing that I'm going to need to do. But so you're worried about that. So let's imagine the whole bottom rectangle is 3/4 EMT, as well as the 2 axle braces. I mean, to me, that's a start. You do all that in 3/4, and the axle, the 5/8 threaded rod on the pecs in the 3/4 EMT axle position. You're still seeing that where those 2 angled braces go down into the bottom member, that may not be strong enough for holding 500 pounds.
It may not be. That's where my eye gets drawn.
Yeah. This is what I'm looking for.
Right. But you're definitely right that you can, once you pick that location and you understand where that axle needs to be, reinforcing it is simply, running more braces to the overall structure. So that makes a lot of sense. And that's the, the trial and error of it, that it sounds like you've got planned in. So I think you'll be able to do it no problem.
I mean, ultimately, we're looking for the lowest cost solution, though, too. So,
sure, yeah.
Would 1/2 inch everywhere do it with this size that we're dealing with the typical trash weights that will be picked up on the road? That's going to be important to figure out, because, I mean, I ultimately want to provide everyone the lowest cost solution that's going to work well over time.
Sure. Yeah. And that's definitely an iterative, sort of thing with doing it like this, right? Is saving weight and saving cost where you can. Another thing, Joe, that comes to mind is using continuous pipe and being careful about which pipes are continuous and then which ones are broken. So,
right. Yes.
And it sounds like you've thought about that, but right off the bat, the handle pipe that runs all the way front to back, keeping that continuous would...
Yeah, a 10-foot piece is what I would start with. And that should probably be 3/4, right? Versus 1/2.
Yeah, I think so. And then, it might be good to keep it all the way continuous, or it might be good to run it from the handle all the way back to the big vertical pipe that's right behind the wheels, and then keep that continuous from top to bottom to help support the weight. So something like, that might be something to try. And also the bottom, the bottom of the structures, that's going to be carrying a lot of weight as well. So maybe keeping that continuous front to back, as I'm sure you've planned, would help the structure out considerably.
Yeah, one piece of EMT not cut.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. I think probably a lot of the, from side to side, the pipes that run side to side by the seat on on the top there. Those are good candidates for 1/2 inch, just the way that, you know, it hits me right now.
Do you have me with screensaver ability? I mean, screen share ability?
Yeah. Do you want to share?
Yeah. Let me go to the.
Okay, I just got to enable it. I don't think I've done that this time.
Okay, so just it'll make it a little bit easier when you're. So, which component also are you? You were saying the 1/2 inch. So the top probably can all be 1/2 inch.
I think so. I think that's probably the easiest there for it to be 1/2 inch. And then like the horizontal near the seat,
Yeah.
you know, some of that, because there's a lot of bracing there. There's a lot of you know, connectors there that'll help keep it strong even with 1/2 inch.
Oh, okay.
And then
These in here, the lower verticals.
not sure. Probably if I was building it, you know, maybe 3/4 to start, right, and then go from there.
Yep. Okay. And you followed on the Liftoff gate design. So these are wooden blocks.
Okay, now I'm seeing it right.
So this is a 1/2 inch spaced off, so that when the gate has 3/4 that's bolted through at the very top edge to this 1/2 inch gate frame.
Yeah.
And it just picks straight up off from the 1/2 inch underneath, and is what I came up with for a easy lift-off gate that would be fairly strong in there. And when it comes time to dump, just lift the gate straight up and off.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't fold, or it's not fully connected all the time. It totally.
Yeah, I think that's a neat design. I like that as well. You know, because thinking about it, if it folded down from the bottom, that wouldn't be good, because you're going to want to dump there, right? It almost has
Right.
to either fold up or move completely out of the way, and probably removing completely would be a better way to do it.
Yeah, and that's what I thought, versus folding out or anything. So another thing I've got not shown in here, there'll be cones on a pipe connector that fold in and out, that are all integrated into the design. So when you're stopped on the side of the road, you just fold the cones out. You can tuck them in out of the way when you're on the road, but then you can kind of bring them out, and that gives extra protection to cars coming by to stay away from my cart. And I'd have them both front and back. So that's
neat.
Also in the design. So neat little things like that. That I've got to figure out exactly what connectors I need for that. But yeah, and there'll be more metal coming down here that holds the jug. Plus I need some sort of a post that goes all the way to the ground to level the cart when you're sitting on the seat.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't quite got that figured out yet, because I don't want it to be to that ground point all the time. Maybe not. I may have just like a brick and have it a brick thickness higher than the ground. So you just throw the brick down under the post. So that when you're sitting here, the cart's all level and everything's level, and you're grounded, not tilting on the wheels at all.
Mm-hmm. Have you
so
seen
there's
those
still more
workbench?
coming with this, and
Have you
I've
seen
got an
those
umbrella
workbench?
holder that will be on the inside of the wall on this side. the mesh gets hooked with wire ties up from the inside. That creates a little gap. So when you're making these aluminum can panels that fit between the framing, they're oversized a little, and they'll tuck up between the framing tube and the inside wire to kind of hold in place. And then maybe just a couple ties here and there for each panel to hold that aluminum can decorative skin in between the frames, which I don't have shown yet, but that's the kids' creativity, and using the garbage, the trash that they're picking up, cutting the cans apart, flattening them out, riveting them together, making these panels that will then pop in and decorate out the whole cart.
Boy, that's going to be wild looking with all those different can colors and everything.
That's the branding that I'm going with for the whole initiative. So it's going to be that wild, and then you can flip cans over, so you can actually create words in these panels, and cut and build around, and then you can paint the opposite side of the can different colors if you want your messaging to stand out.
Cool. I
have a separate initiative called TAP that's also connected into this whole thing. It's my bigger world improvement initiative, which when I build my cart, I'll be building it with this TAP branding. So when I'm out on the road, part of beyond just the cart and the cleaning initiative, there's a bigger initiative that's about improving the world overall, other different ways. That's what I'll be building into the branding of the prototype cart that I built. So
it really is a attention getter on the side of the road when you're cleaning up. Boy.
People are going to stop way more than they did before when we just had a garbage bag. We had special red trash bags built before that I had. So I worked with the public works department. So of course, we needed pickup from all of this, and it costs money to pick up trash up our way now. You just can't put bags out. We have special containers that you have that one container. You can go buy bags and put bags out too, but you got to pay extra money for those bags. And this was before all of that. And I just said, if we have these special heavy duty plastic bags left on the side of the road from cleaning up our town, will you guys pick them up? And basically they're like, well, can you get them all to one spot for us?
Oh my.
I'm like, yeah, sure. So we brought them all. We had them in one huge pile for them for their regular trash day. So they didn't even, it was a regular stop that they just had to throw in all the extra bags. But that's part of the overall initiative too, working with Public Works and getting the whole thing. So, and then there's a whole Google Maps software piece of this too, because one of the things with this whole initiative is who's done what sections of road last when. And so we're going to be building software app that lets the world know, oh, these people did this section of road last on this date. This section of road's in a different color. This needs attention next because it hasn't been done in 18 months. This section, green, was done 3 months ago. This section, yellow, is also candidate for, and then marking special hazard waste. There's a section of road where I walk on that the state didn't even, someone plowed through a guardrail. The guardrail's sitting, the old broken guardrail is thrown down over the bank. Like this big section of guard, they didn't even clean up their work. Huh. So, it's trash hanging down, huge piece of metal, but stuff like that, where you can go into the app and you can message special pickup things, or, someone dumped a car down over the bank here, or dropped a load of tires down. So you can go to the app and alert whoever that there's special needs cleanup. Besides you the volunteer just picking up all the small stuff along the way. So there's this whole other element to it all too. So
That's incredibly smart, Joe. I love that aspect of it, and it didn't hit me just right when I read it, but as you explain it, I mean, there's so many parts that you can incorporate there. I mean, it's the practical part of what roads need to be addressed when, and special requirements, but it's also the social aspect of it as well. Of these are the contributors, these are the volunteers, this is the road that they have worked, and when they've worked it, and that might be a great way to build community around this as well.
Yeah,
I think that's
community
fantastic.
and potential gaming system with it all. So competitions and identifying the most. And so then there's a whole nother piece, which is photographing all the stuff that gets picked up. Part of this initiative is also going to begin to chronicle what exactly is creating the pollution out there in the world. And I have this whole piece where we have facial recognition software now, right? Imagine pollution recognition software.
Wow.
So that we all get a sense of what types of containers, fast food versus convenience beverage versus cigarette butts versus alcohol bottles, and to start telling the story of what exactly is happening in our world with trash. What types of trash are out there is a whole nother piece of this, to build awareness. And we all know there's trash out there, but what is the trash? And just start chronicling what it is, because there's other things, and you might have read this, and I'm getting pushback from my friends about a pollution tax initiative. Once we start figuring out where all the trash is coming from, there's the possibility for doing penalties or taxes for, and encouraging corporations into coming up with better solutions than what they're doing right now, which is basically they can do anything that they want as far as convenience packaging, and people are littering with it just because it's easy to throw it out the window versus do something else with it. So this initiative's kind of open up eyes to all this other stuff that I think needs bigger solutions. Picking up garbage isn't the ultimate solution. Getting the garbage not to show up is the ultimate solution. And thinking about how we get to that point in the world of helping reduce. And one way of doing it is just, we don't need so much convenience packaging provided the world. The world isn't, we're polluting our world with all of this convenience and this ease of everything. And at some point we gotta give up a little bit to get a cleaner world. So those sorts of things. So
well, it's really striking me.
Things that we'll be heading that way. I'm getting pushback from certain people that you shouldn't go there with this, and it doesn't need it. It all starts with the cart, and we're going to start there and keep it simple in the beginning, and hopefully it'll catch on, and we'll get some news reporters will stop when they see a cart out on the road, and it will start growing, and we'll get lots of these carts out on the road, and lots of participation, and trying to make it more fun and exciting. And the gadgets that pick up the trash is a whole nother area where you can make it more interesting and fun for the kids out there picking up trash. And I've got all these ideas for cool gadgets that, from tethered crossbow arrows shooting at a piece of trash with a pistol crossbow, which all my friends would say, you can't give those to kids. I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it. I'm going to have one on my car. And when I use it and I hit a can 30 feet away and pull it in, the reporters are going to love it. And the whole, it's just that type of mind change and thinking that needs to be part of the whole initiative to market it more and grow it more.
Well,
drone pickup devices too. So
yeah, right. That's
so all that fun STEM stuff that is possible to do, that we want kids thinking about, because we want kids to be coming up with new gadgets and tools and improvements to the cart and all of that with all of this. And they'll start building their own custom carts once they see the basics of it all. And there won't just be the one standard cart. You'll be selling connectors for other designs, wider, longer, taller, whatever. It's just get it going. So, all right, I've taken up a lot of your time.
Well, Joe, as you have told me more and more about this project, it is truly impressive, the levels. I mean, you've thought very deeply about this, and these levels that you're uncovering, they, as you describe them, they sound fantastic. They really do. And I think that, a lot of your experiences coming into play with the gamification and everything. But, the first step is, highlighting the issue, right? And the community figures out, the society figures out how to, solve some of the trash, but making it visible and drawing attention to it.
That's step number one. You got to start the conversation. You got to build awareness in people's minds, because everyone just drives by it now. It's not a big deal to go clean up your area, and it's actually a fun little activity. I mean, if you're a physical person and you like to see progress happening on a little section of road, you can start here and go 100 yards down and clean it. You can stand back and go, I feel good.
Yeah. You've got me really excited to do this and try this out, because outside of my house, I live on a busier road. It's probably 45 miles an hour speed limit, but there's no houses around, right? So people come by and they see this long stretch of no houses, and I have a long driveway, so they don't see the house. And boy, the trash that gets thrown outside of my house is truly a problem. So I'm excited. You've inspired me to take action, at least in my small part of the world.
Good. Yeah. And I got to tell you, I've got all these. So I'm the wacky inventor guy. I've been my family and friends. I've done wacky stuff. I've done a lot of stuff that they see that I actually build it and it works in the end. But these types of projects that try to change the world, there's a lot of like, okay, Joe, okay. But this particular one, because it's got both the virtual software stuff and the real cart with the real tools that pick up real trash, because it's got both components. They're seeing it better, and I'm getting much more positive reaction. I mean, no one has said, "Oh, that's a stupid idea, Joe." They're all saying, "Oh, this is a pretty great idea."
Yeah, it's a great place to start, and it's a great place to, let's go pick up some trash. Here's some tools to do it, and you're getting outside and doing a good thing and getting some exercise.
Getting outside, getting away from that cell phone, and we need that. We need more balance in our lives, and
and the community
so it's a promising project. Starts with the cart. Got to build one. Then it's going to take me a while to custom design this can thing. That will take me some time, but it won't take me that long, because I'm a crazy workaholic, and once I get into something, I get them done quick. So yeah, I can't wait to get out with it and start getting reaction from it, and getting news reporters and getting the initiative. But I'm not going to be the guy running the initiative either. So I'm searching for younger people that love this idea and want to run the business end of the initiative piece of it, because there's a whole bunch of engineering and parts that need to happen with software and everything else. So
Sure. Right.
yeah, I'm basically semi-retired now. I just want to go out and pick up trash and test and modify the cart and make the gadgets and let someone else do all the tough work, which is form the strategic partnerships. But if we can get your connectors into this base cart and start pumping out some carts in the world, start small. Like, I read you were a Kickstarter that failed in the beginning, and it's a lot of work to get to a successful point. I was a game developer for almost 10 years before I sold a single game.
Oh, wow. Yeah. One step after another. And that's you got to take one step. And, Joe, I
get a critical mass, and then it starts to take off a little, and then you can maybe make a little bit of money. But there's lots of money spent, lots of time spent, lots of failures along the way. And I'm sure you've done it all, and you're good. It's exciting to see that with your story, you've made it to the point that hopefully you're making some money and paying your bills now with the whole thing, and see growth for the future. So,
well, I appreciate that. Thank you. And it's really great that you found us and we got the chance to talk today. The whole idea has got me so excited, and I really hope that, with MakerPipe community, we can highlight this and show some other people and get other people excited. Who knows? Maybe the person that can run this whole thing, this whole initiative, could be one of those people that see this. So
right. So the one thing I would say about your community, I was just surprised that no one else is chiming in. But I mean, does that not happen at the level of your community yet?
Yeah, it's still,
people are all into their own projects and they're not really looking at other people's projects yet, or
I think a little bit. It's starting to. We're getting more members, but it's a difficult thing to get a lot of participation. So I think, our time today, and if we're able to share this, we can get more discussion on the community around it, and I think people will get excited, because I'm excited, and I'd love to send you the connectors that you need, Joe, for your prototype. I hope you allow me to do that, because I want to see you, get some traction with this and start making it.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I'm happy to pay for whatever that it takes to. So yeah, get me whatever. I'll pay you for it too. I'll get you. How do you ship out?
We do priority mail, postal service.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have a PO box.
Okay.
That if it's going to the postal service, that's fine. There's all kinds of problems with PO boxes.
Yeah.
Doing business with someone that uses ground, and they try to go there, it don't work, and we don't get it. So, yeah, I'll get you that. I mean, you think I should have like your big bundle package?
Yeah, if you come up with, that would make it easy, right? The packages always make it easy to get started, because you don't have to plan it all out. But you've done that upfront legwork with your design. So I'd say if you can send me what you think the design will need, and then, I'll at least let me discount the connectors for you. I appreciate you.
Sure.
We'll work
Sounds
together
good.
on that, and I'll get you some extras too. And so you'll be able to tweak it and iterate your design and everything like that. How's that sound?
That sounds wonderful. And Jake had mentioned that you guys wanted to do a from ground floor concept to finished product video. So tell me what you want from me to get you that thing too. Because of course we want, if you still want to do that sort of thing too.
Yeah.
What do you need from me
I think that would be fantastic, and I think a lot of people are going to want to see the progress. So if you just do you have a camera that does video or a cell phone that would?
Yep.
Yeah. So just capture as much of that as you want, and who knows where it'll go, but we'll definitely be able to use that to tell the story and show people what you're coming up with.
Okay.
That sound okay?
Yeah. I want to give you whatever you need for. I didn't know how much along the process steps that you wanted to. That's why I was kind of uploading photos, my work, as I kind of did a major new step. I gave you a new photo, but you see, I've got the software now, the 3D software, and give you any view of anything that you want. I hope to model your connectors too and get them in there in a different color so that they're all, they won't be perfect looking, but they'll all be highlighted in the overall design, and to show that, you got to put this one over here slightly offset from this one. And so any of those photos that you'll want, I can get you that right from the model. I probably won't model the deconstructed cans in the 3D modeling. I'll wait.
That's a lot of
wait
components.
for real photos of that.
Yeah, that's a lot of components. But
yeah,
that sounds absolutely great, Joe. This has been fantastic. I'm really excited about your project, and I'll help wherever I can. And I'm excited to see how it comes along.
Okay, and if you want to get into the rail project thing separately another time, I know it's late in the Friday afternoon, so ping me if you want to discuss that any further.
Yeah, I'd love to have one of these calls with you again if in the future, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Dave, great to meet you.
Nice meeting you, Joe. Thanks so much.
Okay.
Great ideas, great project. Have a good weekend.
Okay, you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.